Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Black College Experience. I am one half of your Black College Experience team, Derek Thomas, down here in Baton Rouge. And I have the founder of Black College Experience who lives in Atlanta, but she has been a road warrior over these past couple of days. None other than the diva herself, Keisha Kelly. What's going on, Kels?
Finally back in Atlanta from Birmingham. Only a short drive, but it has been a long 24 hours. So I am glad to be back. Basketball season is winding down.
Yes.
And football season is picking up, baseball season is getting ready to pick up. But it has been a long season, and of course we'll recap everything that happened.
Exactly. So, all right. So we want to start off with the tournaments first, and then square away with everything else later, because that's the hot news right now.
Let's start off with the what happened with the combine. Let's start off with the combine if you want to go there first.
Well, of course, you know the person you really want to know about, Danny Johnson. He performs tomorrow, but I had their profiles pulled up here. Brandon Parker and Darius Leonard. Brandon Parker, of course, both players from the MEAC. Brandon Parker, the all-world MEAC offensive lineman, and Darius Leonard, the linebacker from South Carolina State. And, you know, both players, they performed fairly well. Brandon Parker did not have the bench press, you know, and that's something that I was looking for from him, the bench press, and I just wanted to see how many reps he put up, because when you're an offensive lineman, that's what kind of differentiates you. You know what I'm saying? When you're an offensive lineman, the 40 time doesn't necessarily matter, because, I mean, you're not going to be running 40 yards down the field. I have his analysis up here. Give me just a second, waiting for it to load. All right. North Carolina A&T's Brandon Parker was graded a 5.35, which NFL backup or special teams potential, which I hope he supersedes their rating. His height was, of course, 6'8" at 305 pounds, 35-inch arms, 9 3/4-inch hands. He ran the 40-yard dash in 5.4 seconds. Of course, him being an offensive tackle, running a fast 40 is not needed. I mean, to meet 5'4" for offensive lineman, that's pretty good. The vertical jump was 28.5 inches. Broad jump was 113 inches. 3-cone drill was 7.82 seconds. 20-yard shoulder was 4.68 seconds. And like I said, he did not participate in the bench press. I don't know if he was injured or has a shoulder issue, but I would like to see, you know, if he's going to do that at his pro day, if he's going to lift. An offensive lineman not doing bench press reps, I mean, to me that seems maybe he's injured or something of that nature. You know, they're predicting him to go anywhere in rounds 5 and 6. The comparison is Jalen Ware, who was drafted last year out of the SWAC. I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I want to see where Brandon lands. I think he will project well to the NFL. Of course, you know, our SWAC offensive linemen aren't graded very well coming out of the SWAC. They have to prove themselves once they get into the NFL that they have the ability to transition to the NFL game. I think almost more than any other position, to me, even though we've had some Hall of Famers come out the SWAC, it's just like the NFL doesn't give our SWAC or our HBCU offensive linemen much credit as far as them being able to transition to the NFL. I mean, last year, all of the HBCU linemen were rated either undraftable or special teams. And I mean, Jalen Ware stuck a little bit, but I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens with Parker. Now, let's see here. South Carolina State, pull that up right quick. And it says only two from the MEAC. There's Leonard, and he ran his draft grade was 5.87, which means chance to become an NFL starter. I think this rating is coming strictly from his performance in the Senior Bowl. He led all tacklers in the Senior Bowl. I can't remember exactly how many tackles he had, but he was all over the field in the Senior Bowl. His height, he checked in at 6'2", 234 pounds. That is ideal weight for an inside linebacker or an outside linebacker in the NFL. He had 34 and 3/8-inch arms and 10 and 1/4 inch hands. He only participated in 2 drills at the combine due to injury. He ran a 40-yard dash in 4.7 seconds, which that's pretty good for a middle linebacker. I mean, yes, he's going to have to cover, but Darius Leonard has good in space instincts and speed. I mean, he came into college as a defensive back and transitioned to being a linebacker, and we know what he did in the MEAC. He's also the half-brother of former Clemson linebacker Andre Waters, and, you know, he was recruited by Clemson as a preferred walk-on. Leonard decided, I'm going to go to the MEAC, and I'm going to show you that I deserve a scholarship. And he performed like an FBS player at the MEAC level. He had 17 reps on the bench press. Not the strongest linebacker, of course, but here's the thing. When you get in the NFL, it's about whether or not you can grow and become coachable. Because there are players that come out of Ohio State, Alabama, they don't transition to the NFL either. So I don't like it when they try to say that our HBCU prospects are underdeveloped. They may be underdeveloped, but the thing is, as you being a coach, it's your job to develop and help transition them and mold them into quality NFL players. Some players are going to come NFL ready. Some players aren't. I think Darius Leonard is definitely NFL ready. I cannot wait to see what Danny Johnson's numbers will be on tomorrow. I'm going to be watching NFL.com Combine Tracker all day long to see when his numbers come across, especially his 40. But he does have a draft grade. Just don't have any numbers to go with it. So let me pull that up. And of course, he is the only SWAC participant. Danny measured in at 5'10" and 185 pounds. A little small for a corner by NFL standards, but his rating was 5.28, NFL backup or special teams potential. And, you know, I think Danny's going to outplay that rating because a backup corner is normally a slot or a dime corner, and they can still get on the field a lot. Special teams potential, Keisha. That's Danny's forte.
Hold on, let me ask you this, because even reading like the profiles, I know last week, I think I was reading like Friday. NFL is looking at him, and tell me your opinion on this, because of course, you know, this is one thing you said. You said according to NFL standards, and that's so true. You know how that goes. I see that they were looking at him at a nickelback. What do you think of
slot
that?
Back. Slot.
I'm sorry. So so what do you think of that?
That's still the same. It depends on the size of the receiver that he's matched up on. If he's matched up against a Danny Amendola type receiver that's quick, fast, about 6 foot, 180 to 200 pounds, Danny matches up well with him because he's not much bigger. But if you have a big receiver, like let's say T.O. kind of played in the slot sometimes. T.O. was 6'4", 235 pounds. I mean, there's no way Danny's going to be able to man up on T.O. as far as stop him in bump and run coverage. He doesn't have the size. And mind you, I just, on Danny's profile, I do see he performed well in the bench press. He did 15 reps on the bench press. So the DBs are doing something today. But from what I was seeing, that the DBs are supposed to perform tomorrow, but they're doing some drills today because an update to Danny's profile has him completing 15 reps. As a defensive back, I think as a corner, for a guy that's not that big, when they're questioning his ability to play in the run, I mean, I think that's pretty good because he's just as strong as Darius Renard as far as amount of his bench press reps that he completed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, they see he has the ability. They're projecting him to go in the rounds 5 and 6. I think Danny is going to do well at the combine. I hope someone gives him a chance. I would love for him to go to Kansas City because we just traded our number 1 corner to the Rams. So we need a corner. Someone that can come in and, yes, I know you probably say, why you want a Jag to be a Chief? But I've seen Danny Johnson play up close and personal. I've watched him shut down half the field. I've watched him, go on offense and beat the opposing DB. I've seen him return kicks. That's the type of player that I want on my squad. Andy Reid, takes a lot of flack for, but I would like to see Danny in Kansas City because we need a corner. His rating and his strengths and weaknesses. I mean, he had more strengths than weaknesses. The main knock on Danny is they're trying to say that he's not a strong run defender. I think that he can prove them wrong. That he can prove to them that he can stop the run. I mean, I saw Danny blitz a few times. I saw him make a few tackles in the run game for all the games that I went to. So I think Danny has the ability to play in the run kills. Kills?
My phone. I was like, wait, what happened? It froze. Okay, so now I guess we'll just see once that comes on tomorrow. We'll see what happens with Danny. Of course, there's always something different when it comes to us per se. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Right, especially offensive linemen.
Let's go over here. Let's go ahead and take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and talk about what's going on with the SWAC MEAC challenge that's coming here on Sunday, September 2nd.
All right, we'll be right back in 31 seconds for more Black.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with more Black College Experience, and we do have a caller on the line, and that is my line brother, Patrick Perry, who calls in every week, and he gives us some of his insights. Before we move forward, Kels, PP, did you get a chance to watch the Combine, and did you see the performances of the HBCU participants?
No, I didn't. I've never been, one of those big fans of the Combine. I mean, I did watch Cohen last year, when he did it, but never been a big fan of the Combine.
Not a problem, LB, not a problem. All right, Kels, you're driving.
Okay, so where we are now, of course, they did come out with the, they did announce, of course, we knew that Prairie View and North Carolina Central will be playing in the SWAC MEAC Challenge this year coming up. Now, they haven't announced the time, but they do know, as of now, it will be on Sunday, September 2nd, which is Labor Day weekend. Again, that's the Prairie View A&M Panthers versus North Carolina Central Eagles. And again, that will be here in Atlanta on September 2nd at Georgia State Stadium. I'm just hoping that it's not a really hot day. This is the 14th SWAC MEAC or the MEAC SWAC Challenge meeting. And for people that don't know, this game is actually going to be slated to be held in Atlanta up until 2020. So that means I don't have to travel for the next 2 or 3 years. I can just, it's going to be here until 2020. So I can actually just drive across the way and go see this game. I don't have to go anywhere. That's the great thing about it. So here's the question that was raised, and I'll get both of y'all's opinion on this. One of the questions that came up, and for anybody that if y'all never been, this is a nice size stadium. It used to be their field. It used to be the Braves' old stadium. Is what it used to be, and of course they revamped it and changed it around. But it's a nice size stadium, so everybody knows how big baseball stadiums are. They made it collectively to what it is, and this is also the same stadium that Georgia State and Tennessee State played in first game of the season that Tennessee State beat them, but we're not going to talk about that. This is also the same stadium. So what happens is the question came up, why are we playing in Georgia State Stadium giving them money? What are y'all thoughts on that question per se?
Well, all the HBCU stadiums that could be potentially playing in. Well, first off, is there an HBCU? I mean, we had a pretty good attendance at the SWAC MEAC Challenge last year. Like me and you were both at that game. I enjoyed it. But, I'm guessing they want another stadium that can, I guess they want to start the season in Atlanta and finish the season in Atlanta. But I see your point. Why isn't this game held at an HBCU stadium? I guess I would have to do my research to see if there's an HBCU stadium that compares in size to Georgia State's in the area. With this being a HBCU event, you would think that they would consider the venue. Why are you enriching a PWI like Georgia State? I didn't think about that. You're kind of catching me off guard, Kels. But I would research to see. I don't like it. I think they should have tried to find a potential HBCU venue, maybe, so that an HBCU can get those dollars. That's my opinion. What about you, LB?
Yeah, this two things. This is a ESPN thing, like the Celebration Bowl. Yeah.
Yes, they're both right.
Yeah, they control one of the promos that I saw that like Derek said, they wanted to start and end the season in Atlanta. So that's one of the things they're running with. But yeah, it's an ESPN event thing, so you have to go with. They can control all of that. They're not really worried about the HBCU thing, really? As like keeping it all. Like for all these years they held it at the Citrus Bowl, right in Orlando. So that's
right.
I don't know who owns. I think Orlando, the city of Orlando. Owns
You're right, LB. There you go.
They're not worried about the HBCU aspect. They just want a good TV event, which we've gotten the past few years with the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Okay, then look at it from that point of view, because Alcorn and Bethune-Cookman, that wasn't held on Bethune-Cookman's campus. So you're right, LB. Even though that game had to be canceled due to weather, and last year's game was, of course, held on the campus of Southern University. But Prairie View, I wouldn't. I guess with them wanting to start the season in Atlanta and end the season in Atlanta, them having it at one of these institutions' home field, because Prairie View Stadium is nice enough to warrant hosting an ESPN event.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing. I guess I can research to see if there is, even though ESPN doesn't really care, but was there an option, a nice stadium that an HBCU has?
Well, if you look at, you got to look at it like this. What you have here is going to be the AUC. You're going to either have Morehouse, you're going to have Morris Brown that's not operable, and then you're going to have Clark. Clark is not big enough to house.
Okay.
Morehouse, you're going to look at like, So you got to look at it in that state because also their season is going to be kicking off. So you can't kick somebody else out of their stadium to put another game in there. That's what's happening. So you don't have any other HBCUs that's right here in the city of Atlanta with the exception of everything that's in the AUC. That's it. And then when they do stuff, they normally do it together. Even when homecoming, you talk about homecoming, you do Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark together. They have one homecoming. Okay. So it just makes sense. But
why not start it in the Mercedes Benz Dome? Why start the season there, end it there? One venue instead of having it at two.
Because then you get into. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you know they got that kickoff classic?
Oh,
correct.
Yeah.
It's something going on that is probably a reason why they didn't use the Mercedes. And then you think about it. If you're doing a televised event and you look at past games that have not been a sold-out event, you don't want to put an event like that in a stadium that big and it's on TV and it's not sold out. It looks bad on TV.
You're right.
It looks really bad on TV. So that's the type of things, they'll look at. And it's just like he said, they control all of that. They control everything down to the credential. They control everything that goes on with that. So it's like you said, they just probably want a good televised event, but you still got to look at the ticket sales. And then keep in mind, it is on a Sunday, on a holiday weekend. So, it's a lot going on. But I think this will be a really good game. I forget Prairie View's coming in with a new coach.
Yeah, Eric Dooley.
Central coming, it's going to be a good game.
At Granville Eastman, their first two games, yes. And our SWAC interim commissioner, Eric Gant. What was that, LB?
Central got a new coach as well.
Yeah, Granville Eastman. Yep. And then we have the interim commissioner, Edgar Gant. And also MEAC commissioner, Alcorn legend Dennis Thomas, leading the charge for their respective conferences. And of course, our alum, director of athletics, Ashley Robinson at Valley, who definitely I talked to Ashley last night at the Southern versus Prairie View basketball game, and he's interested in being a guest. So we're gonna have to get that set up. He was very excited. About their win over Southern yesterday, Kels. We'll talk about that later. But he was gave me his number, say, call me and schedule me. So he wants to come on and tell his story, I guess, how he has come from Mississippi, from Valley to where he is now as the director of athletics. So I'm going to definitely try to get that squared away. So he wanted me to let y'all know that.
Okay. So, tournament time. Let's talk about tournament time. Do you want to go first SWAC or do you want to go SIAC? What do you want to go first?
Let's go with where the champions were crowned. I mean, we had three conferences who crowned their champions over the weekend. I'm a gentleman. I'm going to let you pick the first one. Which conference you want to go with first?
So let's just go ahead and go with the SWAC first. That's fine.
Not a problem. All right. The SWAC starts its tournament. Let's see. Let me pull this up.
On Tuesday. With Southern versus Pine Bluff. Yeah, I just looked at the brackets earlier. That's the only reason why I know. It's just with these games, there's so many games going on, and then they be going on in the middle of the day, and I'm like, you trying to stream and pick and catch social media. It's the games. It's so much going on, but we all know it's going to be at Houston. We do know that.
Is that the first round, of course, is going to be on your respective college campuses, and I mean, let's see, we have this. Like you said, the first game is going to be Southern versus Prairie View, and
Pine Bluff.
I'm sorry, yeah, Southern versus no. The men's basketball will be Southern versus Jackson State.
Okay.
Arkansas Pine Bluff, since Grambling, the regular season champion, is ineligible for the SWAC tournament. I mean, wow. For the first, gotta say congratulations to Grambling for winning their first track regular season title in 30 years. but unfortunately, due to APR issues, they're unable to participate in the tournament. That allows our Delta Devils PP to get in and play spoiler. But we have a tough matchup against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Texas Southern will be playing Alabama State, and Prairie View will be playing Alcorn, all on those teams' home floors in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Baton Rouge, Houston, Texas, and Prairie View, Texas. And then the tournament will then shift to Houston on March 9th, going forward. So we're gonna. I know Kels thinks her Jags is gonna win. I'm hoping my Delta Devils can play spoiler. We got in on a technicality. Got to thank them Grambling Tigers. So if we were able to get in and make some noise, we would have to give a good, unfortunate kudos to Grambling if we were to get in and win this thing. I would love for that to happen. That would give us some bragging rights, PP, for a while. Even though we won 4 games this year in the SWAC, 4 games total. All coming in our conference. So, a rough season for us. So, Kels, who do you think going to win between Pine Bluff and my Delta Devils?
Well, it's just like I said, it does not matter if you are the 8th seed versus the 2nd seed, 3rd seed, 4th seed. During tournament time, anything can happen. It's been proven time and time again. I watched all of SIAC this week. It happened. Yeah. Number 1 seeds went down left and right. Number 1 seeds were going down. So during tournament time, it really does not matter. Anything can happen. In this case, I watched Valley play basketball last year. They gave people some fits. And I told somebody the other day, I was like, it does not matter. I was like, Valley had strong basketball team, men's basketball team last year. They really did. So you just get in some situations where you just can't finish, but it was some overtime games. Even last season, they had some overtime games where they actually went through. So I think that Valley does have the potential to be a spoiler. Just don't try to bring that over to Southern University, though. Don't try to bring that to us now. We don't want y'all to be our spoiler.
Well, I would have loved for us to have been paired with you, Jags. I mean, because we did beat Grambling, even though Pine Bluff ended Grambling's streak. We did beat Grambling after Pine Bluff beat them. So, like you said, we do have talent to compete with anybody in the SWAC. I mean, later on in the season, we weren't getting blown out. We were losing games by 3 and 4 points in overtimes. So it's possible our Delta Devils, PP, may have hit their stride. And, we catch a lot of flack because we don't win a lot. But if we were to be able to make some noise in this tournament, it would quiet a lot of people. A lot of people. So I'm gonna pick my Delta Devils to win. PP, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we know Payne know he coaching for his job. 25 wins in 4 years. They did play better. Like you said, let's throw that last Pine Bluff game out. But like I said, we lost in overtime 3 times. Lost 2 buzzer beaters by Texas Southern and Jackson State.
Right.
And I said we beat the top 2 teams in the SWAC, Grambling and Prairie View. So I think if we play our best game, yeah, we can beat Pine Bluff. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. Exactly. That's the reason why I'm going to take bad.
All right. Up next, Kels Jags versus the hated Jackson State Tigers. There was a radio commercial down here in Baton Rouge that starts off, it's great when Southern beats up on Jackson State. Oh, I'm on roll with that radio commercial. I think Southern, even though they lost a heartbreaker on senior night to Prairie View, had the game in control the majority of the game, but lost it, and the Prairie View came back on them. I'm going to roll with the Jags. Southern needs this big man, Jared Sam, to step up. He wasn't as dominant in the previous game against Prairie View, and I think that's one of the reasons why Southern lost. They're going to need Jared Sam to bring his A game for 40 minutes against the Tigers if Southern wants to move forward. Kels, what's your analysis of this game?
Of course, anything can happen. I watched Southern and Jackson State play. If Jackson State goes on the run, Jackson State wins because I've watched Jackson State play. And I think in this case, I actually thought that Jackson State was going to finish higher because in the beginning of the season, they were actually playing some really steady basketball. They were winning their games. So I actually thought they were going to finish a little bit, I guess, closer to the top, especially with women's basketball. I thought they were actually going to finish. And as time went on, it saw the 7-7, all the different times. So I really, I never give the who I think, but I think it could go either way in this case. Again, like you said, if we get the big man to step up, you do your part, but you can't be down, say possession after possession after possession. You can't. It's one of those, if they keep scoring and you get down by so many points, you're going to be in trouble.
All right, PP.
Yeah, I think so. That game they played against Alabama A&M yesterday, Jackson State, that was an ugly game. So I think Jackson State always been kind of bitten by the injury bug the past couple of years. So Southern's playing just good, well enough. So I think they'll win. I think they'll. What am I thinking?
Up next, Texas Southern, a resurgent Texas Southern squad led by reinstated guard DeMontre Jefferson against Alabama State. There is no way I'm picking Alabama State to beat Texas Southern. I'm rolling with Texas Southern in this game. Kels?
Yeah, I'll take Texas Southern here too.
PP?
Yeah. We beat Alabama State, so.
which is this year it's really crazy with Alabama State, because normally for as long as I've been watching Alabama State, now keep in mind I'm from Alabama. Mm-hmm. Alabama State has run Alabama A&M like that game. Alabama State, Alabama A&M, they'll play home and then they'll play in Montgomery. Those are standing room sold out games every season. They will sell out and it will be standing room only. And I'm talking about if a game started at 4, you had to be at the gym by 1. For basketball, these were like standing room sold out games only because that's how bad it was. The rival was Alabama State will take 1, A&M will take 1. Alabama State might take 2, A&M might take 2. It was just that many people that were coming to watch that game. And it's just like Alabama State needs to make some changes in their coaching. That's the husband and the wife. They need to make some changes over there. There's some changes that need to,
some
because it's like,
going on over
yeah,
there.
they need to make some changes over there.
All right. Up next, Prairie View versus Alcorn. I got a chance to see Prairie View in action against your Jags, Kels, and like I said, Southern led that game, the majority of the game, but about 9 minutes ago, Prairie View went on a huge run to start leading by at least 12 points with timely 3-point shooting. Alcorn, they don't have a potentially strong team this year. They finished 8-10. Prairie View finished 12-6. I'm gonna roll with Prairie View in this game. Kels?
Same.
PP?
Yeah.
All right. Now jumping over to the women, where the Southern Lady Jaguars earn a SWAC regular season title. So, we got to give it to Coach Pugh, and their star, Brianna Green, for earning this regular season title. I was at the game. They straight destroyed Prairie View. I got to the game at halftime, and they were winning by over 30 points. I mean, it was just a complete dismantlement by the Lady Jags. I mean, they're definitely tournament ready. Their starters played until late in the fourth quarter, and then you had the backups come in to get some playing time to prepare them for the tournament. But your Lady Jags will host the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions. After what I saw last night, I'm rolling with the Lady Jags. Kels?
Yeah, I'm going to take my Jaguars here.
PP?
Yeah, I can go ahead and go with the.
All right. Up next, Texas Southern versus Alabama State. I'm going to roll with the Texas Southern Lady Tigers. So, Kels?
Yep. Same.
PP?
Yeah.
All right. And Prairie View versus Jackson State. I'm going gonna roll with my hometown Jackson State Tigers to pull an upset and move on in the SWAC tournament. Kels?
I'll take Jackson State here too.
PP?
I'm gonna go with Prairie View.
All right. And now Grambling versus Alcorn, a rematch of the SWAC championship game in football. Miss Quadruple Double will defeat, and her Tigers will defeat Grambling. Congratulations to Shakayla Hill for also being named Women's Basketball Player of the Week. Had 35 points versus Alabama A&M and back-to-back double-doubles. This young lady is the truth, and she's not alone. Grambling has two other players on their squad that can beat you. The Alcorn State Lady Braves will not be moving forward in the SWAC tournament. Grambling will. Kels?
Yeah, definitely with Shakayla and the way that she's playing. I definitely feel like it's going to be Grambling.
BP?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Grambling. Let me give a quick shout out to Devilette and Bassett. She came 2 steals short last night of a quadruple double.
Oh wow, really? Oh
Good
man.
deal.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, she had 11 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 8 steals.
oh wow.
So
It's a lot of
yeah,
work.
so she's coming.
I don't know
yeah,
I don't know what the men be doing out here. The women be out here working. I don't know what y'all men be out here doing
I'm a
on all
proponent
these
of
teams.
women's basketball?
All these women teams be playing. The men just out there looking. They need to tell these guys to do their job because all
Why
these
you
women on these teams are working.
Why do you think I'm such a proponent of women's basketball? I mean, the women are
All
technicians.
these women out here working. The
They're
dudes just out here
technicians
looking
with that
crazy.
ball.
Yeah,
So
it
those
is.
that-
It's good. Go ahead.
that's the end of our SWAC predictions for the start of the SWAC tournament. Kels, you want to take a quick commercial break and come back with the MEAC?
Yeah. Let's
All
go
right,
SIAC next.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back in 31 seconds, and we'll be recapping the SIAC tournament and the champions on that side. We'll be right back in 31 seconds.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience, and we are now going to discuss the SIAC basketball tournament. Kels, take it away.
This weekend in the SIAC, this was like the longest. Yesterday seemed like the longest day, but it's been a tough week. It was a hard-fought week, and I'm talking about their thing was survive and advance. That's what their hashtag was for the SIAC, survive and advance. And it's just like it sounds. You survive this game, you advance to the next round. And there was some upsets. There were many upsets because, the SWAC, we just give ours, like everybody wins under one umbrella. With the SIAC, they have East and West. That's how they do theirs. So, like football, we do East and West. For basketball, they do East and West. And so you're talking about, what, 13, I think you said 13, 14 teams or whatever in the conference. But on Thursday, Morehouse lost, which I did not expect. Early on in the week, the number one seed on the west side was Central State. They lost. And I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen? Anyhow, what happens is, for Clark Atlanta, women's end up winning. They won the tournament championship. That's Coach Yolanda Moore. The funny thing about that was that two days before they won by 4 points. And listening to them yesterday do press conference, two things that they do, or three things that they did. One thing was one of the young ladies talked about how 45. This was yesterday, so it was 45 days prior to yesterday. They had went to church together as a team. Mm-hmm. And that day in particular, the pastor said, something is going to happen to you that's going to change your life in 45 days. And yesterday they won the championship.
That was a
45 days later. That's crazy. One of the girls that plays for, I'm sorry?
I was like, well, that's a blessing.
And the girl was like, you know, and they all were just like, I guess it was like one of those, like, wow. One of the girls that used to play, or that plays, her name is Lauren. She used to play for Alcorn. So now she's playing for Clark. She's from Atlanta, but now she's playing for Clark. She had played for Alcorn, I think, last year, and now she's back here. But I was like, well, you win a championship. But that was one of the things. The second thing that happened was the coach pulled out. This is so funny. She pulled out this, sheet, because they were actually predicted to finish 5th, which was, like, right before the last slot in their conference. And so yesterday she pulls out the sheet, and she tells them, she was like, you know, when people say, or when they think they know where we're supposed to finish, you go from being predicted to finish second to last, and then you win a championship. What do you tell people? And then she did. She pulled out the sheet. She was like, I keep this every time we play a championship. We played the whole time to remind people that you're not what other people think. Don't let other people predict where you're supposed to be. Exactly. And then the final thing, taken away from that actual moment, you get a guy, without saying per se, you get some reporter without saying, basically trying to downplay HBCUs, and she was just straight to the point. Like, you know, if we go on per se, let's say we do go on to the Final Four, she said we win, they're not going to say that's an HBCU. They're just going to call us the national champions and keep it moving. I said, well, ain't no more to say after that. That's how you close out. That's how you close out a press conference, and that's how we ended it. And it was so true. But they deserve that moment. They beat Central State by 1 point, 71-70.
I mean,
that's, you know, I talk about the heartbreakers. That's a heartbreaker right there.
Well, this was a heartbreaker because Central State was beating them by double digits, and CIAA made
up by 15. Yep.
Dramatic comeback led by I don't want to kill a young lady's name, Mandalove. I mean, attacking the basket.
She's a beast.
You know, with 2.3 seconds left to give CIAA the win. I mean, that is how you all year, Kels, you have been talking about these 1 point wins.
The 1 point wins.
Central State probably gonna be like, don't you ever talk about a 1 point win ever again. They were up by 15 and lose by 1.
By 15 points.
You know.
Yep, and you lose by 1, and that's how most of the games be. And the funny thing is, Mandeville, her slogan was "Bon appetit, let's eat," and she had a T-shirt. That was her slogan: "Bon appetit, let's eat." So after they won last night, that's all they were talking about. And even after that, I got a chance to talk to Coach Lewis, and he was like, "I can't believe we were up by 15 points to lose by 1." So he was okay. He handled it pretty well. So, you know, that was okay. Now going over to Clark Atlanta men. Clark Atlanta dropped one to Claflin. Claflin has been a thorn for everybody this year. Claflin has been securing it. Let's say the other loss was to Claflin. Claflin has been in this situation where they have been shutting teams down. And last night, they took the champ. It just happened. They took it, and they moved right on. And the funny thing is that this was their first championship title. Same thing with Clark Atlanta. This was Coach Moore's first year coaching them. First time they got the conference title, and then they turned around and got a championship title. But this was Claflin's first time with a SIAC championship title on Saturday. So it was pretty good. But they won over Clark Atlanta 69-61.
Right.
I don't. They had this one guy that plays for Clark Atlanta, Kill Douglas. He had a really great game. You know, it was some really, really great things. But you know how it is when you get behind. It's like they knock the air out of you. And for some reason, after the first 2 possessions we were talking about, because I got a chance to talk to their assistant coach today. It's just like after those first 2, they could not regain it, and it was just like they're running and they just couldn't hold on to it. So in the end.
I mean,
you see what happened.
Right, and Claflin finishes Claflin finished the season with a 25-6 record totally. Wow. Kels and people, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I heard some music. Kels, you there?
Yeah, I don't have music.
Okay, I don't know what that was. But you have to give it up to Claflin. I mean, they battled. They battled. They took the lead and they didn't give it back. I mean, when you have a team, you know, I mean, and everyone figured this would be Morehouse's tournament to win. You know, and like you said, you can run through the season, you know, like Morehouse did. But there's always a chance that you're not going to complete the doubleheader, winning the regular season championship and also the tournament championship. So you want to send congratulations over to Claflin. I mean, for a successful basketball season. I mean, basketball in the SIAC, it was very, very, very competitive this year. I mean, you could tell.
Very competitive.
I mean,
very.
And one thing that you did, Kels, is you rallied to get support in your area for coverage for SIAC basketball, and I think, you know, more squads need to receive the coverage that they deserve. I mean, no, we're not Duke, no, we're not North Carolina, but
and here you have it.
Who cares? You know, who cares if it's not Duke or North Carolina? All these kids deserve some type of exposure for their hard work and determination on the basketball court.
And I think one of the great things is that, you know, over at Clark, you got Coach Darryl Walker, and somebody, I think we were laughing about this at the media table, but it's his thing. Like, he'll drive around this little red golf cart around campus on game day, and he's telling people to come to the games. And this guy was laughing. I was like, but there's nothing wrong with you trying to get people out. And then they start having packed houses. When you start winning like that, people are really coming to support you. And I was like, I really think if that whatever it takes to get people out there is whatever it takes. So he got the people involved, engaged in whatever it is that they needed to do, and they started coming out there to support. But, you know, it's by any means necessary, whatever you got to do. But I agree. Like I always say, we owe it to these kids to go out there and support them. It's our duty, because they're out there doing something every single week. I don't care what sport it is. They're out there doing something that they don't have to do. And we got to go. And that's one of the things I guess I just don't get. Like, when some people, I get it. You know, people say, oh, that's boring, I don't want to watch it. But going in and we don't have the support, and we don't have, like, once we get into the CIAA, they had over 3,000 people in there this year. Us, I don't know. You know, I don't know what was going on in the SIAC, but, you know, that's neither here nor there.
Right.
All right. Let's go over to the CIAA.
All right. The CIAA, I mean, oh, wow. Awesome tournament experience for the CIAA with all the events that they had. You know, in the first round, you had St. Aug defeating Chowan. And then you had Fayetteville State defeating Lincoln. And then in the next round, you had Livingstone defeating Elizabeth City State. And then you had Virginia State defeating St. Aug. And then you had Virginia Union defeating Winston-Salem State. Virginia Union then is defeating Shaw. Livingstone losing to Bowie State. And Johnson C. Smith defeating Fayetteville State. And in your semifinals, you had Virginia State versus Virginia Union. Johnson C. Smith versus Bowie State. And the championship ended up being a Virginia Union defeating Virginia State. And they faced Johnson C. Smith, who defeated Bowie State. And in this game, Virginia Union reigned supreme. They defeated Johnson C. Smith to become the CIAA men's basketball champions, Kels.
It was Johnson C. Smith. You know, they wiped them out big time. It was Virginia Union went on a run. It was a really, and the thing is, both men and women won the title.
Right.
Now, how awesome is that? Both men and women won the title at the same time.
double championships for Virginia Union in men's and women's basketball. So
that's awesome.
They're going to be, of course, securing their spots.
I guess that's the only men's team that's doing their job, guys.
Securing their spot in the NCAA Division II basketball tournament. Hopefully our HBCU teams will be able to, fare well and play hard and make some noise in those tournaments. So, congratulations to Virginia Union on their double take as far as both men's and women's basketball teams taking home the hardware.
Right.
So,
all right, I guess our final is the MEAC.
All right, in the MEAC. All right, so of course the MEAC tournament will be starting very, very soon, just like the MEAC, just like the SWAC tournament. Let's see, I have this up here. All right. All right, for the men's basketball tournament, the MEAC basketball tournament will be March 5th through 10th in Norfolk, Virginia. And before I talk about the tournament, I want to give kudos to the player of the year in the MEAC, and that is Brandon Tabb out of Bethune-Cookman. Rookie of the year was R.J. Cole out of Howard. Defensive player of the year was Sufyan Diakate out of Bethune-Cookman. And the coach of the year was Jay Joyner out of North Carolina A&T. Now, back over to this bracket. First round matchups will be Howard versus Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T versus Delaware State, Norfolk State versus Maryland Eastern Shore, North Carolina Central versus Coppin State, and then Morgan State versus South Carolina State. Hampton, Savannah State, and Bethune-Cookman each have byes. So we're going to start off with Howard versus Florida A&M. I think the Bison are going to move forward, and they're going to face Hampton,
agree,
crosstown rival. Chaos is sticking with me with Howard. PP, what about you? Who do you think is going to win this game?
Howard, who they play again?
They play FAMU.
I'm going to go with FAMU just to think they'll shake it up.
All right. And continuing down the bracket, North Carolina A&T versus Delaware State. There is no way I'm picking Delaware State to beat North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T finished with an undefeated record at home. They're going to blow Delaware State out. PP, what do you think?
Oh, Delaware State with an interim coach? No.
Okay. Kels, trifecta?
Definitely North Carolina. Yeah, definitely North Carolina A&T.
All right. Norfolk State versus Maryland Eastern Shore, a 5 versus a 12. I mean, I'm going to roll with Norfolk State. Even though we got some trouble brewing in Norfolk State in the past, but we'll talk about that another time. I'm going to roll with Norfolk State versus Maryland Eastern Shore.
I'm going to take Norfolk State. Simple fact that they held on with they held on and still lost with Hampton by about 4 points. And we know that Hampton is a top team, so if they can play that close, I'm pretty sure they're going to play even harder with Maryland Eastern Shore. So I'm going to take Norfolk here.
All right, and North Carolina Central versus Coppin State. I mean, Coppin State's a scrappy team, but I'm going to roll with the North Carolina Central Eagles. I don't want to just say, hey, I'm picking the higher ranked seed, but I'm just looking at the team performance, and I just think North Carolina Central is going to handle business. PP?
I'll be different and say Coppin State.
All right.
Me too. I'm going to take Coppin State too.
I'll take an upset. And then we have Morgan State versus South Carolina State. Morgan State been having some problems over there. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily know if they're going to be focused. So I'm going to roll with South Carolina State in this game. PP?
Yeah, I'm going with South Carolina State. They've been underachieving as far as Morgan State is concerned. So, yeah, I'm going with South Carolina State.
Me too.
All right. So, our first round matchups are complete. Second round, we would have Hampton versus Howard. PP thinks FAMU is going to win. Then you would have North Carolina A&T versus Norfolk State. And then I predict that North Carolina Central will face Savannah State. Kel, did you pick Coppin State or did you pick NCCU?
For which game?
For the North Carolina Central versus Coppin State.
I picked Coppin.
Okay, so you and PP think Coppin is going to play against Savannah State.
And Savannah State will win that game.
Yeah, they will. Then North Carolina State will defeat Morgan State and play against Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman being the number 2 seed. They will definitely defeat South Carolina State in my eyes. What do you all think?
South Carolina State against who?
Against Bethune-Cookman, the number 2 seed. With the offensive and defensive players of the year on their squads.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I'll go with
Wish I had some Jeopardy music to play.
I go with Bethune-Cookman here.
All right, so Hampton versus Howard. I'm gonna roll with the number 1 seed, Hampton. They're gonna defeat Howard. Then we will have. Then next up will be North Carolina A&T versus Norfolk State. I'm gonna roll with the Eagles on that one. But I guess getting kind of tricky predicting this bracket. So I guess we can recap the championship game next week on our next episode of Black College Experience. On the women's side, let's see here. We want to congratulate Angel Golden of Bethune-Cookman and Ashanti Hunt of Bethune-Cookman, both being named Angel the Offensive Player of the Year and Ashanti being named the Defensive Player of the Year. The Rookie of the Year is Barisha Gil Miles out of Maryland Eastern Shore, and the Coach of the Year is Vanessa Blair Lewis out of Bethune-Cookman. All right, the bracket goes as follows. All right, let's see here. The first round byes go to North Carolina A&T, Bethune-Cookman, and Hampton. Of course, everyone knows Hampton defeated North Carolina Lady Tar Heels earlier this year, so they are a strong team. I'm surprised they're number 3. They're number 3. I mean, wow. But first round matchups would include North Carolina Central versus South Carolina State, Howard versus FAMU, Norfolk State versus Savannah State, Morgan State versus Coppin State. I'm not sure. Hate when this thing don't want to scroll. Technology. And then we have the next game would be Maryland Eastern Shore versus Delaware State. So that's the women's field for the women's basketball tournament. And, of course, we will recap that tournament next week. What's left, Kels, is the GCAC basketball tournament that was held in New Orleans. Everyone, the GCAC is a Division II conference full of HBCUs, and I have their conference information pulled up here. And where is it? I think I accidentally closed it. Let me just get it back up. All right. While I'm waiting on that to load, we want to congratulate the GCAC for partnering up with Adidas for their apparel for the next couple of years. All right. So the championship game featured on the women's side, Dillard versus Edward Waters. And the 23-ranked Dillard defeated Edward Waters 63-59 to become the GCAC tournament champions. For the Division II for the NIA Division I National Championship tournament, Xavier and Dillard will have secured first round games. Their opponents will be named going forward. I mean, it's later on tonight around about 10 o'clock. But the tournament will take place March 14th through March 20th in Billings, Montana. So congratulations to Xavier and Dillard. More so Dillard for winning the GCAC tournament on the women's side. Now on the men's side, Dillard completes a three-peat. They defeat Xavier 86-71 to claim the GCAC tournament championship. And these two squads will also have secured first round games in the men's Buffalo Funds NAIA Division I National Championship, which will be played in Kansas City, Missouri, March 14th to 20th. Dillard is ranked 20th and Xavier is ranked 25th. So hopefully these HBCUs can make some noise in the tournament. Like I said, Dillard is a 3-time GCAC tournament champion. So hopefully that team is well seasoned and prepared for hopefully a long road to grind it out in the NAIA tournament, y'all. So we're running out of time, Kills. And we've got about ready to wrap up. Do you have any parting shots?
I don't. I'm just looking forward to see what's going on this weekend, the MEAC and SWAC. I do want to highlight or do want to say that in the last couple of weeks, I have got a chance to talk to coaches, athletic directors, assistant athletic directors, SIAC personnel between Morehouse, Claflin, Clark. Everybody is thanking us for all of the coverage, all the stuff that we're doing as far as Black college experience. Every school, I mean, more than 10 schools, I say per se, right at this moment, I can think of, have thanked us for the work that we do and trying to get as much as coverage as we can on their schools. And it's just refreshing to know that people actually notice when you're actually trying to do something for their school and you're trying to cover and bring as much as exposure to them. So on that note, I did not realize that one of the assistant athletic directors at Claflin was a woman. And I actually met her last night and she was like, thank you for all of the coverage. And I was like, I'm one of those like, okay, who are you? I'm that person. And I was like, oh, okay, what's your name? I'm terrible. I have to do better. And so she told me, and I didn't realize, but, you know, again, it's just one of those things that's refreshing just to know that your work is not in vain. We do it for the athletes, but to know that it's not in vain is a really good feeling.
Exactly. And hopefully with us making these partnerships and networking, you know, we can, you know, when they want to call in and talk about their school and their conference, they have an open invite too. So, PP, you have any partner shots?
No.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Kels said it greatly. We're going to see what's going to happen in the MEAC and the SWAC basketball tournaments. And then basketball season will be over, but we will still have spring sports, baseball, softball, tennis, and other athletic sporting events going on across the HBCU landscape. For Derek Thomas in Baton Rouge, Keisha Kelly in Atlanta, and Patrick Perry in the Delta, this is Black College Experience, and we are out of here.